A marketing firm with close ties to the right wing has been sowing discord among the left in an effort to essentially give the Republican Party an edge in elections. This is an incredible story from The Guardian that relied on a former Facebook employee who turned to becoming a whistleblower about the company's practices. And they found some pretty incredible details about just how easy it is for a right-wing marketing firm to post accounts that appear to be leftist when in reality you have right-wingers running it. So in the apparent attempt to split the Democratic vote in a number of close races, the ads that this marketing firm was putting out purported to come from an organization called America Progress Now, or APN, and use socialist memes and rhetoric to urge left-wing voters to support Green Party candidates. So obviously voting for a third party in this two-party system puts at least one of the parties in jeopardy of losing, right? It'll split the vote, and that's what the strategy was here. On October 27th of 2018, just days before the November 6th election, America Progress Now began running a series of ads that used leftist motifs, such as the red rose emoji and images of Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to rail against the corporate two-party oligarchy and the corporate capitalist wage system. Some of the ads urged voters to choose a third party, but others endorsed Green Party candidates by name, triggering FEC rules for independent expenditures. And we'll get to that in just a second, because this activity, this behavior goes against FEC rules, but it really does seem as though laws are really enforced against people who have the audacity to vape in a non-vaping section of Maryland. But anyway, so I also wanted to give you an example of what these memes look like, because if you're just an unsuspecting person, you would see that and think, yeah, these ads are totally put out by a progressive organization. They use pictures of AOC, they criticize capitalism, clearly seem to favor democratic socialism. But the whole point is to pose as leftists and then encourage people to vote for a third party, because the Democratic Party is worthless. There's no way that they're gonna ever accomplish progressive goals. Now we know that the possibility of a Green Party or a third party in general winning is nearly impossible. I mean, just impossible. It's never happened. It likely won't ever happen unless we literally change our system of government. But Cenk, why don't you jump in and I'll give you some more details later.
Yeah, so let's talk about nuances as usual here. So are there actual people who believe in the Green Party? Of course, and that's why they're using this tactic to take advantage, because it's so hard to tell who's being genuine and who isn't. And by the way, the other thing that it does is it tricks the people on the left into thinking, oh, these are people who have a good intention. Oh, they say that Trump might even be better than the Democrats on the issues of war or corruption, etc. When Trump ain't better than them at all, right? That doesn't make the corporate Democrats any good either. And so it's easy for a lot of the camps to fall into two different absolutist positions here, where corporate media might look at this and go, that's it, dismiss anyone who's Green Party. No, that's ridiculous. And then some of these troll farms will get you to believe, oh yeah, if you don't agree with this position, then you're not a good enough progressive.
Right, there's a lot of that on Facebook and Twitter, there's no question.
And again, guys, some of the people saying that are actual leftists, and that's okay, that's their genuine position. And some of them are trolls. And you will hear, I guarantee you, even in response to this video, people saying, no, there are no trolls. This is a piece by The Guardian. They're not a conservative publication. This is a study that was done. They uncovered it. There's FEC filings. The guy apologized for not saying the correct information in the FEC filings. There's no question that it is true, right? And yes, they use tactics meant to deceive you. Like the two things that they constantly talked about was the corporate two-party oligarchy and corporate capitalist wage system. Now, if you're a progressive, those sound pretty good. They sound like, oh, that's true, that's why they're using it. And they know that it's a way to lure you in so you don't vote against Trump. Okay, that was literally the purpose of this activity. It's led by Charlie Kirk's group.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second, right? But these things, and the rose is they hide in camouflage behind things that are real. So are there a lot of socialists on Twitter who use the red rose legitimately? Definitely, right? And are there right-wingers hiding by using the rose? Yes. And so, by the way, lately, the camouflage I'm seeing, and this is not part of the study, and you could judge for yourself, is the Palestinian flag. Even I fall for it. I'm like, oh my God, a Palestinian flag, great, you're for free Palestine and the end of the occupation. And then you click on it, guy's a total right-winger, doesn't believe in that at all. He's using the Palestinian flag to get good, well-meaning progressives to support right-wing positions.
Yeah, and there are certainly troll farms that use similar symbols in order to deceive people into thinking that they're conversing with an actual leftist. And then you click on their page and they have no tweets, and the page was created a week ago, a few days ago, maybe a month ago. So I'm just giving you some signs to look out for.
Can I just say one quick example? It happened over the weekend. A guy named Omar, pretending to be a Palestinian and a left-winger, is criticizing me for being a fake leftist. All you gotta do is click. You click on his thing. He's a total right-winger. Every tweet is right-wing. And so he doesn't care about the. Oh, and what did he criticize me for? He went after my Turkish name and said, "Why don't you go back to Turkey?" If you're Palestinian, that is unlikely critique that you would have of me. You could have other critiques, but that would be an unlikely one. So some of these guys are super obvious, but people can't see it because they don't know that the phenomenon is actually happening.
That's exactly right. And so I want to give you some more details about what this group is and how they're tied to Charlie Kirk's organization. So as they report in The Guardian, Facebook was aware of the true identity of the advertiser, the conservative marketing firm Rally Forge, and the deceptive nature of the ads, documents seen by The Guardian show. But the company determined that they did not violate its policies. Rally Forge would go on to set up a pro-Trump domestic troll farm for Turning Point Action, a sister organization for Turning Point USA in 2020, earning a permanent ban from Facebook. So finally, Facebook realized what was really going on. They found it was problematic and actually did go against their guidelines, and they implemented a permanent ban. Now, I mentioned a former Facebook employee who turned to being a whistleblower in regard to the company and its practices. Her name is Sophie Zhang. She spoke to The Guardian about this as well and said, quote, "There were no policies at Facebook against pretending to be a group that did not exist, an abuse vector that has also been used by the governments of Honduras and Azerbaijan," which I certainly noticed during the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict just last year. And APN, by the way, this group, they broke election laws, but the FEC is just like, they said they didn't know they were breaking laws, so we're gonna let it go. The Guardian writes that APN and its ads appear to violate federal laws that require independent expenditures to be filed with the FCC and include proper disclosures on advertisements. But in July of 2020, the FEC voted to dismiss allegations that America Progress Now had violated federal law after an individual, Evan Molstein, took responsibility for the ads and attributed the lack of proper disclosures and filings to his, quote, inexperience. I guess that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I was so inexperienced. I didn't know I was using a really fancy consulting firm that charges tons of money to run a Republican operation. Golly gee, I thought maybe I was Green Party. Okay, so it's an obvious lie. Will there be any consequences? Unlikely. FEC is totally toothless. Half of it is Republicans, and they refuse to do anything about fraud because they mainly participate in fraud in these type of situations. But I got to tell you two more things. Just think about the Azerbaijan situation. So presumably they are putting out tweets and Facebook posts, etc. This is about Facebook, so it's mainly in the case that they were caught on about Facebook posts saying that Armenia is wrong. Now, were they appealing to right wingers or left wingers? I don't know the particulars of that story, but the logical thing to do would be both. To pretend you're a left winger, saying, oh, the Armenians are terrible, did you know they discriminate? Here, I'll make up as the thing. They discriminate against Muslims. Oh, left-wingers go, I don't want to have people discriminating against Muslims. I guess Azerbaijan is right? And then they go to the right wing, go, did you know Trump is in favor of Azerbaijan and then thinks the Armenians are ridiculous, etc. And then they get all people, Trump's in favor of it, Trump's in favor of it. How easy is that? You'd actually, since Facebook basically allowed it in the past and is not great at checking it today, let alone Twitter, which is the worst on this, you'd be crazy not to do it if you're a foreign country. And you think Azerbaijan and Honduras are the only ones doing it? Do you really think that? Or do you think larger countries with far more sophisticated apparatus and a lot more resources? And I'm not just talking about Russia, guys. It could be anyone. It could be China, it could be India, any large country that wants to influence American politics and sees how important social media is. It's such an easy way to game the system. We tell you all this just please be careful. And a lot of times they look like real people. They actually put together real sentences, but they're part of a troll farm. And again, don't also assume that everybody's a troll. No, so a lot of people are real, of course, that hold those positions. But finally, Anna mentioned the Green Party, so I wanted to say one more thing about that. Look, in the long run, if you work unbelievable amount of time on it and can muster up, unfortunately, tens of millions of dollars in resources, you can get the Green Party up and running, but you need to have a very long-term plan. And you could do it, but you should raise grassroots money for it. You should build a party infrastructure, and I know they're gonna say they do, and win some local races, which they have. Those are good, positive steps forward, because we can't stand the corporate Democrats either. But if you blunder into an election at the last minute going, I think I got this, okay, I'll just, I don't have a good plan. Here, vote Green Party. Well, first of all, you're probably not even gonna get on the ballot. It depends on the situation. In local races, you can. At the federal level, it is incredibly difficult, right? But if you do, and you might get on the ballot in Wisconsin, where you could take away really important votes from Democrats, but you might not get on the ballot in many other states, and who cares, right? They'll think, because we're just trying to take away these bad actors, will think we're just trying to take away votes in Wisconsin. It's perfect for us. So how do you know if the Green Party has a chance or doesn't have a chance? I know it's hard, guys, but you got to do a little homework. So if it's a local or state race, they might be able to win. So look into it and support them if you can, right? If it's a race where they don't have a chance, be really, really careful. And don't assume they don't have a chance in the beginning, but don't assume that they're going to magically win at the end. That's why you need nuance. And finally, a lot of people told you, oh no, Green Party candidates can win at the federal level. I told you it's better to take over the Democratic Party. Let's do a progressive win called the Justice Democrats, and let's take it over from the inside. How many Just Democrats are there in Congress now? 10. All of them don't take corporate PAC money. All of them are uncorrupted. You might disagree with their tactics sometimes. I disagree with their tactics sometimes. But they're fighting, and today they're saying no deal if there's no climate plans in the infrastructure bill. They fought on qualified immunity, etc. And how many Green Party members are in the House? 0. So I'm not saying ha ha. I'm saying, guys, you can build something, but it's gonna take a while. But if you listen to a con man telling you that it can happen overnight, look at the results. Who got results and who didn't? So that's how you can begin to tell what's real and what's not real. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.